Today, with American industry concentrating its utmost energies on production for a war still far from won, a scene is being enacted over and over again which has significant import for the future of the nation's industrial front.
Good morning. Look at this, Mr. Brown.
Well, we'll have to make arrangements to lay off some of our people. Get out a mimeograph notice saying we regret that since the liquidation of our government contracts has begun, it'll be necessary to, and so forth. You know what I want.
Yes, sir.
The first 100 laid off, and I had to be one of them.
Well, we all knew it had to come sometime.
Though in many communities, non-essential industries are still desperately short-handed, and even some essential industries are harassed by a manpower shortage, to many others, cancellation of war contracts is bringing a genuine problem of spot unemployment. At the same time, government agencies are faced with the task of having to find jobs for returning veterans, who, for one reason or another, are now being discharged from the services at the rate of $70,000 a month.
How do you do, Mr. Watson?
How do you do?
I have all your papers here. You just get out of the hospital?
Just about 2 weeks ago.
How were things over in Italy?
Well, they were pretty tough for a while.
I should imagine so. You take this slip over to Bishop's. They need a man in the tool checking room there. I know you're qualified, and you're first.
Well, thanks a lot. Bye.
Good luck, dear.
Today, when America's men in uniform look beyond the long years of war to the future that lies ahead of them, first on their minds is their chance of getting post-war jobs.
I don't have to worry after the war's over. I have the promise of my old job back.
Yeah, but I never had a job. What do I do?
Gonna be tough. About the time that we get out, there'll be millions of people back home all looking for new jobs.
Among the some 50 million Americans who have jobs today, as among the 11 million in the armed forces, there is real fear of the upheavals the war's end can bring. Of the job holders, at least 8 million may well be thrown out of work when war production stops. Though about 5 million of these will probably retire from industry, some 3 million will be left to find new jobs. From the armed forces, as many as 9 million men and women may return upon demobilization to be reinstated in old jobs or given new ones, making a total of about 12 million who will have to be absorbed. Washington, sensitive to public opinion on all major issues, makes post-war jobs a prime topic of discussion. Both the House and the Senate have set up their post-war planning committees. Under Senator George of Georgia, the Senate committee has already issued a terse and stimulating report making specific recommendations for government action. Congressmen from every state have taken part in the framing of more than a score of post-war planning bills and more than 150 bills to provide benefits for returning veterans. But few states and few governors are as lucky as New York's Dewey, who can remind his legislature that it has on hand an actual cash surplus for post-war projects.
When our men and women return from the armed forces, this surplus must be available to meet the needs of that critical period. Accordingly, I recommend that your honorable bodies create a post-war reconstruction fund and that you transfer to this fund the entire surplus of $140 million.
Post-war planners know that the United States has today an immense industrial establishment which, if still in operation at war's end, is capable of providing a peacetime level of employment and prosperity beyond anything America has yet experienced. But if, during the period of reconversion to peacetime needs, production and employment must halt until machines idle since the war began are restored to use, and if industrial unemployment delays the reopening of the retail and service industries, which alone can support many millions, depression may result. Of this potential danger, some American communities are already having the first foretaste. One of these is Springfield, Vermont, whose mainstay has long been the machine tool industry, an industry quick to benefit from war orders, but also one of the first affected by a slowdown in war work. Springfield is finding out the meaning of spot unemployment.
The shop laid me off Friday. Monday, I went back to work for myself, doing odd job carpentry.
Think I'll try to get a job at the sawmill if things don't start picking up pretty quick.
Most workers laid off so far are people recruited from the nearby Vermont hills. Many can return to what they were doing before. But as the war boom developed, great groups of war workers had moved into Springfield from outside. It is these people, without roots in the community and solely dependent on their war jobs, who most fear the future.
If they lay off any more people at the plant, we'll have to start figuring where to move on to. There's no other jobs for my husband around here.
Biggest plant in Springfield is the Jones and Lamson Machine Tool Factory, founded in 1876, which took on 1,600 new employees when the nation's industries called for more and more machine tools to get war production started in a hurry. 624 Jones and Lamson employees went off to fight, most with the promise that their old jobs would be there when they returned. Through 3 boom years, there were new war jobs for all comers, experienced or inexperienced. Production soared and Springfield citizens prospered. Then, with the nation's war effort passing from the retooling stage to the stage of mass production, Jones and Lamson was faced, in a space of weeks, with its first problem of war contract cancellations. By converting a part of the shop to subcontract work for Boeing Aircraft and other firms, the company kept up work for all but a few of its employees. But more important for the future than temporary expedients was the work Jones and Lamson was quietly pushing ahead in its engineering department. Like many other alert businessmen, the company had long since foreseen what might come. On the company's drafting boards today are enough post-war projects for which orders are already in hand to carry the company through the transition months and far beyond. If the government releases the necessary raw materials in time to permit a gradual transition, these projects should keep those now employed steadily at work and provide many new jobs. And Jones and Lamson's president, Ralph E. Flanders, believes all American industry can do as well.
Expand the market in this country for all kinds of manufactured goods. Develop the thousands of new enterprises that are waiting to be born. And work tirelessly to expand our foreign markets. But we can't get any long-range program of prosperity and employment even started if the manufacturers' cash reserves are taxed away or too greatly depleted by renegotiation.
Sharing the businessman's deep concern as to the government's post-war fiscal policy are men who are prominent as factors in the 1944 presidential campaign.
There's only one principle to apply to war taxation, and that's a hard principle. We must tax to the very limit every corporate and individual dollar capable of bearing a tax, particularly those dollars, corporate and individual, which have arisen from the war itself. After the war is over, in order to stimulate the flow of goods and services, taxes must be reduced rather than increased. We must solve the post-war problem by creating the biggest possible national income on which to impose relatively modest taxes. And finally, we should thoroughly inquire into all forms of incentive taxation by which business and industry can be stimulated to adopt policies that will expand employment, encourage new industry, and advance the welfare of society.